What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio. Transmitting from the future-free state of Greater Idaho, I am the one-armed madman. And with me today, we're back with another episode of Three Guys, Four Arms. We got Daniel Steele and Connor Maggzz in the house.
It's happening.
How's that? That was my shock jock.
Perfect.
It's getting a little better. It's getting a little better. So what's up, guys? I think we've had some news go down since the last time we've talked here, huh? Just a couple things here and there. We've got
Richard Simmons died.
It's a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. The guy's a hero. I mean, should we take a moment of silence to begin with, or should we just like kind of acted like
Richard Simmons died?
Yeah, he died on Saturday.
Yeah, he's dead. He's gone.
Shit.
He protected Trump, saved his life. You know. I think he jumped in front of somebody on the bullet or something.
Said, hey,
he took a bullet.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is not cool.
Was he part of the Crystal Light Dancers back in the day too?
Ooh.
I don't know what the Crystal Light Dancers are.
The fucking people that would dance, they literally would dance in leotards or some shit. It was like something that was popular in the 80s.
Oh, that sounds like something he'd be into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks exact. I think they might have stolen their look from him, to be honest.
There's a lot of people that have stolen that guy's look. I mean, you walk around in the Castro, and he's walking around all over the damn place. He's got his shorts stuffed with a big cucumber, and he's fucking power walking like a son of a bitch. Maybe this is how we'll get into this. So whenever something like big like this happens, like the Trump thing, So I lived in San Francisco for 5 years. I moved there when I got sober, and I kind of just hung out with sober people. They were all a bunch of hippies and deadheads. We got along great. Like, I was an oddity to them because, I was from Northern California, and I rode a dirt bike through town, and I got guns and shit like that. But oddities were cool back then. Like, it was interesting. You could go out to dinner and not talk about the same bullshit. And, that time is so gone. Every time something like this happens, I go onto Facebook and just see what some of my old friends are saying. So here's just a couple of snippets. You had one fucking job. That's a good one. Friends who have employers and or customers. For the next couple of days, think long and hard about what you post. So these guys are the one, you had one job. That one really gets me because that insinuates that he was hired by the CIA and we don't care because he missed, is kind of the way I read that. When I see job doesn't mean lone gunner who's just going to go out and do something all on his own. Job insinuates a paycheck for a purpose, as far as I can tell.
Wait, so you're telling me that the kid with no social media that just registered as a Republican and crawled with a rifle on a roof 150 yards away from the president while the Secret Service shooed people away from behind him before the shots happened might have been paid?
It's an incredible theory. I mean,
it's crazy because Discord's deleted his account today, and they said that there's nothing relevant to the shooting on it. So don't worry about that.
And I'm sure they went through it with a fine-tooth comb. There was nothing. There was nothing about.
Believe them.
I heard that he was a donator to Act Blue in the last election, but the kid's 20 years old. So was he 17
when he donated?
Was he we're never going to know the whole story.
BlackRock, when you're getting paid by BlackRock.
I just watched
BlackRock commercial.
I just watched that. Incredible. I mean, Gretchen Whitmer's getting the band back together. This is just perfect. This guy is perfect. I mean, you look at him and he's just one of those, how sometimes you look at these people, I like watching cop videos, or I like watching crazy people get arrested or corrupt cops arresting people. And when you get the corrupt cop or you get the psychopath, they've got the eyes and you can just see there's nothing behind those eyes. There's just something off with this one. And just right away from the first picture I saw from that guy, I got that same feeling. It's here's the guy. Who knows how they found him, but they did.
It all just comes off as so fucking fake. Every aspect of it, even down to the actual just the fucking guy army crawling up a fucking building.
and a cop
That's a
going up
fucking
and him
loaded
pointing a
shit.
gun at him. Cop goes up and the guy points a rifle at him, so the cop climbs down the ladder and does nothing else.
What were they talking about with the fucking head of the Secret Service being a chick now, and the chick dropped the fucking ball on it or something like that?
Yeah, she's all into DEI. She's like, we have to have diverse people in this job. It's like, what the fuck do they need to be diverse for? All they need to do is
I
shoot
think we
people.
talked about this last time, where it's just like the same assholes. Like when I mean, you didn't grow up with it, but I mean, I grew up with my fucking hand missing, and like growing up with it, I just remember like a lot of these fuckers when they would like, even the adults too, they would play this weird fucking game of like, yo, we gotta be inclusive and shit, and we gotta fucking let little Timmy with the fucking missing hand or some shit play fucking baseball. It's like,
There's
Yeah,
no
man.
clapping in this classroom.
and after a certain point, it's just like, bro, are you guys even fucking trying?
Yeah, dude. I saw that in COVID. So, like, in COVID, I didn't realize that I was like a high risk patient because I am. Like, I have a lot of medical issues. I'm sure you've got medical issues too, but like, I've had some shit go down. And like, one day I was just thinking, like, hey, I'm the guy everybody's trying to protect. So, like, maybe my opinion should matter. And I posted something on Facebook along the lines of, I'm a high risk patient and I don't give a fuck if you wear a mask. And then all of my friends in San Francisco just piled on and tried to explain to me why I was wrong. You know, and you have to elevate the what do they call them? The discriminated voice. You know, like I remember doing this DEI thing in college where they were talking about raising up, you know, the voice of the unheard and this and that. And I was like, here's a great scenario for you. I was born upper middle class white kid, so therefore I am like not marginalized at all. Then I became a drug addict, so I'm marginalized. Then I got clean and I made a bunch of money. I'm not marginalized again. Now I lost my hand. I'm back to being marginalized. It's just a joke, right?
Your
Yeah, none of it's real.
Your oppression's Olympics record is pretty scattered.
It is, right?
It's pretty funny, mate. So we just moved into a like an art complex kind of warehouse ordeal, and our neighbors immediately got pissed off at us. But I'm not one that normally looks at those metrics. I'm not like looking at like, oh, okay, you know, like I'm not the general person that's like looking at someone's deformities and being like, they're more marginalized than me, man. I should probably, you know, I should treat them like this. I've never ever fucking looked at that, but like my neighbors got fucking angry with me the other day, and we'd only been here for like a week, and they like went fucking ape shit and like let themselves into my property and all this weird fucking shit. Fact of the matter is though, I pulled back the hood and looked at it from the perspective of how these people operate, and like I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, if this comes down to it, and they effectively try to take me to like the HOA or the board or whatever to have a hearing, and they
Yeah.
do that oppression Olympic bullshit there, these fucking idiots are like white Europeans that are about to try to get me, a fucking disabled Mexican,
Yeah.
like localized Angelino, to get removed from the house. I'm like, dude, you guys created this fucking shitstorm of a world. Like,
Yeah.
dude, this fucking shit's so stupid. Like, I don't understand it.
Dude, I have a new neighbor and I've been getting into it with him. Like, I'm the problem on the block. I've been the problem since I moved there because I fucking stand up for myself.
What exactly are you by being the problem though? Like, what if
I
what does
stand
that
up for my beliefs and I don't let the HOA walk over me and fucking up our dues by 200% a month, you know, a year. And just basically being a normal person is a problem. But when I moved here, like I had just gotten the amputation. My fucking ex-wife left me and I was having a hard time. And like I was having a hard time with my yard. I just couldn't keep the yard kept up. And these motherfuckers took me like and tried to put a lien on my house because I wasn't taking care of my yard. Not one of them ever came and offered to help me with my yard. So fast forward a couple of years, I run a black flag in front of my house. I run a Gadsden flag and a black flag. I got this guy who left me this note that was just fucking crazy. And I sent it to you, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I'll send it to you afterwards, Connor. It's beautiful. And this guy's just like, who are your enemies? And are you threatening to kill me? And why does in my day, we respected each other and we helped our neighbors and blah, 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 blah. And I found out that it came from the head of the HOA who tried to put a lien on my house for not mowing my lawn.
Dude, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How is it that fucking difficult to understand?
And now my house is the best looking house on the block, so they get really freaking pissed about that. And you know, you guys will get a kick out of this. I got this new neighbor, so like right away he knows that I'm a problem. He's been briefed about me, you know, so he kind of comes over and he does his thing. He tried to extort me on our first ever meeting. I had a pile of rock in my driveway that I hadn't used from last year. So he's like, "Hey man, what's up with that rock? You want that rock?" And I'm like, you know, I need it. And he goes, "Hey, how about you give me that rock and I'll mow that lawn for you all year?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I have a riding lawnmower. I don't give a fuck about you. No, I don't want you mowing my lawn." He's like, "Okay, well, how about I just mow it anyways?" I'm like, "Oh, so I'm the problem who doesn't take care of his lawn. So you want your connecting lawn to look better. So he wants to mow it anyways because he wants it to look good. But instead of just mowing it for free, why don't I try and get some rock out of him?" So then he's been bitching about my garbage cans. "Oh, you know, the garbage cans, they don't want to pick up those black cans." So I have like my own little cans that I was sticking. I've lived here for 8 years. It's been no problem. This year, they finally decided, "Oh, we can't do it anymore." And this neighbor's explaining this to me. And I'm like, well, these fucking people are just lazy. You know, I don't want to pay an extra $5 a month for a garbage can. That's thousands of dollars over the lifetime they live here. And he's just, "Oh, well, you know, it's just their job and they can't do it. It's too high. It's too heavy." I'm like, dude, they have done it for 8 years. They decided this month that it wasn't okay anymore. Like, how can you cover for these fucking people? And well, it's only $5. Yeah, it's $5 a month for you. Maybe not a big deal. For me, it's a big fucking deal. These people already take our tax dollars. Like, our garbage services should be paid through my income tax or my sales tax or my property tax or any of the other fucking taxes that I pay. But they tax you and then they charge you again.
Yeah, so there's an interesting phenomenon that I keep experiencing with, you know, anytime I want to have something and you know, have fun and being a fucking American and enjoy my shit. I like, for example, me being an American and enjoying my shit is like I bought a shitbox Chevy S10 from like the 80s. It was like I rescued it from some fucking like poor paisa that was like, "Bro, I don't want this fucking thing anymore." It's being held together by like chicken wire and shit. So the current house we're at, it's fine. The only, you know, it's parked on the fucking street, and for whatever reason, our neighbors, and this is a common theme, old like white liberal people, that for whatever fucking reason just can't mind their own business. Um, so they decided to call parking enforcement on it, and after like I want to say like fucking 5 or 6 complaints, they finally sent a driver out there. But they complained about other shit at her house though. They fucking went for everything else. So at this point, I'm like, "Oh, dude, it's fucking on."
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
they
Dude,
send
I
they
hate my
send this
HOA.
little guy out. He comes to my fucking house. We lived in South Pass at the time, South Pasadena. And for context, it's like it's like a dreamy little suburb that people would fucking, you know, give half their fucking nutsack to live in, right? Nobody's hurting anybody. Nobody's doing any weird shit in there, right? Or maybe they're, I don't know.
Who cares if they are?
They send this little fucking dude in a fully plated up fucking got his fucking 9 on his side, like ready for war. I walk out because I see him taking pictures and shit on our corner, and I'm like, can I fucking help you, bro? Like, what's your deal? And this guy is he's so flustered by me coming out and confronting him. He put his hand on his fucking eye. I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Oh my
Like,
God.
and then not only that, he's like, "Are you the owner of this truck?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my fucking car. Like, what are you doing?" He's like, "Well, you need to move it." I'm like, "Okay, sure, I can move it." And he's like, "Also, your hedges are too fucking tall." I'm like,
Fuck
"Since
you.
fucking when?
Yeah, fuck
Do you
you.
not see what the fuck? I've been here for fucking like 10 years, bro." Like,
Me and my buddy used
so
to live in this HOA apartment complex, and they were fucking cocksuckers. And he didn't move his car. Like, he parked his car and it broke down. And
fucking communist, man.
they fucking towed the bastard. And he thought it was
No.
stolen. So he's like calling the police, doing the report, going through the works, like, "Oh, we'll get back to you if we find it." Like 2 or 3 weeks later, they call him up and like he gets a call from a tow truck company like, "Hey, you want to come and pick up your car? You owe us like $5,000." And the car was worth like $2,800. It's like, dude, it was a cool little car. It was a 240 SX, rear wheel drive, badass little rig,
those are
you know?
fun little bastards
Yeah,
too,
and he
man.
fucking lost it. It was a bummer.
Hey, before
Dude,
we
yeah.
get too far from the shooting,
I was actually going to
the
try
be-
and bring us back to
the
that.
best
Sorry.
line. Oh, we don't have to go back to it. I just didn't want to miss this line. Retardy Oswald is what people are calling him.
Dude, that's what happens when you take marksmanship classes on Call of Duty.
Oh my god.
Let me see if I have any other notes on this. I didn't really. Did you see the female agent who couldn't fucking who couldn't holster her gun?
Oh, the one that ducked down behind the president
Yeah.
while things were shooting.
Yeah.
I gotta find the. There's like a wage gap photo. I'll send it to you guys real
Okay.
quick.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah,
So here's a question. Somebody asked me this the other day. It was just one of my family or friends. I don't remember who it was. They asked, what would Trump have to say or do to get you to go and vote for him? And I thought about it. Well, why don't you guys give an answer first, and then I'll give mine. What do you think? Or are you going to vote for him?
Get rid of income tax.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He said that he floated that one for
The
sure.
wage
That
gap.
a 10% tariff on everything. Actually, so Ari Shafir was on Tucker a week or two ago,
Yeah.
and I was watching it with my wife last week, and he made a really good point. He's like, Tucker's like, you don't do anything for politics, you won't vote. He's like, no, I'll never participate in that system, and because by participating in it, you're validating it, and if you're validating it, means you believe it. And that's pretty much where I was, because like there's no libertarian, like Dave Smith isn't running.
No.
Would have voted for him, but now they got some pedophile that wants that's like the age of consent's too high.
Yeah.
Kennedy, gun grabber,
Yep.
probably further left than Biden, and I just wasn't going to participate. And then I got to thinking about it after the shooting, and like this dude should be like paying off porn stars for fucking him. He's old billionaire or golfing or do whatever he wanted. And the system that I hate so much, and the system that hates me, wants him dead. So, and the dude just stood up and said, "Fight."
Yeah, dude.
And
That
if
was fucking rad.
And if the system that I hate and hates me so much wants this guy dead, first they tried to impeach him, then bankrupt him, then get him kicked off the ballot, then these indictments, and then they shoot him. Those are the people that I fucking hate, and I'm going to vote against them. So I think I'm going to participate this time. And
I just don't
I don't know.
understand. Really, it was what it comes down to. Like none of it seems to register as like fucking remotely, like chess oriented. I guess like it doesn't. It all
Sloppy.
comes off as like very messy, and I had something explained to me the other day because like it's weird when you actually see like the powers that be kind of like rear their head for the first time ever, and you kind of like awake. I don't want to say awake because that's fucking retarded. Like when people use that word, but no, when you first like actually see that you have no fucking control, like actually no fucking control over your own country and your own legal system and the justice behind it, like it's bizarre, but it feels really hyper coordinated and as if they were like spent a lot of time planning and so on and so forth. But at the end of the fucking day, it's like, you know, they just have all the power at the top. They just have the institutions. They have the ability to kind of do whatever the snap their fingers and make it fucking happen. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be good at what they fucking do, but like this one just felt really like out of place, like extra out of place. Like you guys sent up a kid with like I don't even know what caliber he's using. Like maybe somebody was saying maybe 9 even that he was trying to take a shot with 9mm that far away or something.
It was a rifle. It was a 308 rifle.
It was 308.
Was it 308?
And that's not a hard shot. Like that's a very easy shot as far as like shots go.
Also, he shot at the fucking head. You know, if you train especially for an assassination attempt, they're gonna go. You're gonna go for upper body. You're gonna go for right here, whatever he can hit right here. You know, this whole section right here is the more so the target. Even if it does just block, I mean, dude, there's a chance it could kill the fucking target much more so than missing his head entirely.
A 308's a big enough round that it's going to do a lot of damage no matter where it hits.
I don't think it was a 308. It was probably 5.56 or 9. But the fact that
I've got a 243, and a 243 would be a great gun for a shot like that. You know, it's a blacktail gun. Doesn't have a ton of power, but it's shoots very good. You don't get a lot of movement on your round. Yeah.
The only place that I've seen AR-15 is from people saying that there's no reason for us to have it, and it was like a political pundit that understood firearms that said it was a 308. But I mean,
could be. We'll never really know because it's not like we're going to see the actual gun. You know.
Oh no, that's all in the lake already.
Like a lot of the time,
like that guy had to die too. Like there was you could not let him live no matter what. You know.
It just doesn't feel fucking real at the end of the day. Like, it literally feels like I don't know. It feels like a play.
WWE.
It feels like a play. Literally. To me, at least to me. Like, man.
The actual finale of House of Cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I actually, Daniel, I like your thoughts behind voting in this circumstance. I like to say that I have a perfect voting record because I've never voted for anybody in my life. I kind of, as a kid, I kind of just didn't really buy into this shit. Like, I asked my grandfather once, and like, why are we Republicans instead of Democrats? And he kind of explained to me, like, you know, the Democrats want to take your guns, they want to fucking take your money, they want to screw you. You know, it was all, his answer was pretty good for like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid, however old I was. But all he was really telling me is why I'm not a Democrat. He didn't tell me why I was a Republican. I just thought I was because that's what I was surrounded with. And then, you know, growing up, I'm smoking weed. I get in trouble with cops. Like, I hate fucking cops. I've always hated cops. Like, my mom was a criminal defense attorney, and we were always taught that cops want nothing more than to destroy your day. So don't fucking talk to them, you know? So as far as like Donald Trump goes, like, my answer was he could not say or do anything that could get me to go vote for him. Because I live in Idaho. Like, you could already call it for Trump in Idaho last year, 2 years ago. Like, it's just completely meaningless. If I was in a swing state where it actually mattered, I like your income tax angle, but I could also see like a federal, you know, legalization of marijuana being something that could get me to get up and vote for the guy. But with the way the system is right now, like, I think if voting was fair, they wouldn't let us do it. And I kind of think that I think that they've already anointed him high up. I don't think a lot of these like Morning Joe characters are read in on this bullshit. And my thought is they're going to let the dude win and they're going to destroy everything around him. Is they have to teach us. They have to teach us a lesson for voting for an outsider, so they can say, "Hey, look, you tried it. You got a pandemic. You tried it again, and the entire financial system collapsed. Like, you can't just have these outsiders come in." So I think that there's some serious games going on right now.
And listeners, you heard it here first. The financial system's collapsing by Bitcoin and a lot of Doge.
Yes. Oh, Doge, really? I don't own any Doge.
Yeah.
There's I had it explained to me the other day that kind of tripped me out, but I guess it makes sense, kind of touching back on the lack there of coordination and everything that's been happening. I mean, if I don't know, you guys have seen Yuri Bezmenov's shit about like subversion of culture and like how countries he's like it's subverted, and he was like an ex-KGB fucking just an asshole for the most part. But the fact of the matter is though is that he's a fucking commie. But what he explained though was, and I mean it's kind of come out, and I'm like, you're kind of seeing it in full force, and the reason why you can't compare like the Soviet Union commies to our current like just retarded Antifa commies. And it's a very clear indication that the fucking retards that got left over from the Soviet Union are now running the show for them. Granted, they're still using the same exact tactics, but they're effectively like a flailing like child that's like upset. So they're just going to try to break as much shit as they possibly can on the way out. And what I mean by that is, they genuinely only know how to go in and fuck stuff up. They don't know how to actually accomplish anything. They have a rough understanding of how to do so, but for the most part, it's mainly midwits and, you know, people that are ever so slightly smarter than them that are running the show. And then you've got some very smart people at the very top, but there's no in between. There's no people that are kind of really thinking for themselves. It's really just a shit show.
Midwits are dangerous, man.
they're fucking insane people, man. Most of the time, they're the kind of people you'll sit there and show them that there's a break in the link of their logic, but they'll stare you down and be like, no,
Yeah.
But the reason why, like, if you look at like post-Soviet, or if you look at Soviet Russia and you look at like the actual movement behind those communists, there's a lot of masculinity in their movement. A lot of it came down to the men providing and fucking doing all the traditional shit and fucking, effectively it was like trying to rile up young men and masculinity. If you look at the current stature of it, they've effectively taken that methodology of trying to get the young men engaged and effectively pointed it all at young women and the remaining allies of the young men women, which is like hilariously the young women, the minorities, and LGBTQI+2 or whatever the fuck their shit is now. So it's just like fucking insane to see there's like an opposite coalition that formed during Soviet Russia than the one that's forming right now. And hilariously, our stupid asses are kind of just like baffled by it because, like, realistically, we should be that we're supposed to be the ones they're appealing to, and they're just fucking not.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, I mean, women and the LGBT are not going to go fight a fucking war. Like, they're not going. They're just not going to. So
I'll
it's
tell you who is
interesting.
ready to. Like the people that you don't hear from in the middle of America that they said were all terrorists, white supremacists. Those motherfuckers
Yes.
are attacking on Saturday.
Yeah. And that's kind of a bummer because I think at this point, like a lot of Midwestern, military families are pretty fed up with sending their kids over to fight wars for these
They're not gonna
disgusting
do it
people.
anymore. They're not going to do that shit anymore, and they'd much rather have their. At this point, I think Dan was telling me or maybe yesterday, Dan, you were saying that there's a higher percentage of Americans that are ready to fucking fight their government than get drafted and fight in a war or a foreign war.
It's pretty fucking crazy. That wasn't me, but I agree with it.
I think that might be a good thing.
Yeah,
It absolutely is a good thing.
that's
Like
how it was framed. Right?
once you realize
what the
who
shit
the
was made
enemy
for.
is, like most people just don't realize that the fucking state is the enemy. The United States is not this fucking feel good country that Leave It to Beaver in the 50s. Like we're a disgusting war blood drenched monster who is just careening across the world, destroying everything in its path like Godzilla. And if people could look at our government more as Godzilla and less as Uncle Sam, that could be a big step in the right direction. But it's a real nightmare. Like, man, some of the shit you were saying about midwits while I was in college, man, like I thought that I was going to have a hard time in college. I thought it was going to be harder than it was. It was so fucking easy. And the people were just so fucking stupid. And like you said, like I would write out this, here's the question of the week or whatever it is. And I'd write out this really thought out like piece that kind of explains the way I see things and kind of dispels the way that the other side sees things. And they'll do the exactly what you said. Yeah, no, that's wrong. And they won't give you any reason because they can't. They have nothing. All they know is that this guy is the enemy, and I have to refute what he's saying to the death.
Yeah, and it's just fucking unhinged. At the end of the day, it's just fucking unhinged. It's like, dude, like, what the fuck happened? Like, when did counterculture like become so fucking gay? Like,
dude, Eminem.
I have a quick announcement. I have a quick announcement. I just had an email come through. We have Gail coming on the podcast.
Fuck yes.
We're in, boys. This is why we do it. Sorry, continue.
So to Connor's point about counterculture, back when I guess I was like late teens, early 20s, Eminem was the counterculture. And I was reading some of the lyrics from a song. He's still bitching about people not wearing masks.
Wait, who?
Eminem.
Oh, Eminem, really?
The song. Yes.
How
Eminem.
gross.
Slim Shady. The album's called The Death of Slim Shady. And he has lyrics complaining about people not wearing masks.
It's so bizarre. Like, I wonder what they get out of just humiliating themselves and their fucking careers they've built. Like, I wonder what they get out of it.
I think he's just broken. Trump broke him.
The first album I ever bought was Offspring Americana. And like, if you go back and listen to Offspring, they fucking got, like their lyrics were on, like they fucking got it. And now you see them for what they really are. And you go, oh, you guys were just liars this entire fucking time. You were just useful idiots because what did they do? Kick their drummer out as soon as he couldn't take the vaccine. You know, and it's like you said, these are the Offspring is punk rock music. That is counterculture. When I grew up in Northern and Southern California, like that was the shit that your parents didn't want you to listen to. And that's why you liked it, you know, and to watch, oh yeah, you can't get the vax. Sorry. Get out of our corporate concert. And it's just like, oh man. And it makes you appreciate the ones who like stood up for what they believed. Like I'm a big Pennywise fan. You know, Pennywise, they never sold out. None of their guys ever fucking went up and did the vaccine talk or the mask dance or any of that bullshit. They just hammered out music and kept quiet, which, you know, I would rather you keep quiet than start being a fucking idiot. So at least I can respect
I was thinking
their
about this
music.
the other day. You guys are aware of the concept of gesture privilege?
No.
Oh yeah, how you can basically comedians, yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought.
Jesters were allowed to say whatever they wanted, and it didn't matter because they're just fucking jesters. And why are we listening? I got a text message today because Jack Nicholson and Bruce Springsteen are endorsing Biden, and they're matching his thing. And like, when did we start listening to these fucking people? Just sing for me.
Exactly.
I love Bruce Springsteen's music.
Yeah,
I love his music, and like I even liked his. He did a special on Netflix that was like a live thing where he kind of just stood up on stage and told stories and fucking sung. It was great. Like it was fucking great. Just do that and stop with this. Like you said, why are we listening to Mark Ruffalo? You're a fucking moron, commie who makes money.
Dude, he's also just fucking insufferable online.
Yes.
Like it's just like, bro, some of them are just like the worst fucking personalities you can possibly put up with online. It's like, bro, just shut the fuck up.
Oh, it was De Niro, not Nicholson. I don't know where Nicholson.
They're the same guy. They're the same guy. They haven't made a good movie in 20 years. Go away. Give somebody else the fucking job. The Departed was great. You haven't done anything good since then. Like De Niro, I don't even remember De Niro's last good movie.
They probably had to suck a dick to get on film.
Probably.
Go away, cocksucker. I don't care what you have to say.
Oh, yeah, I don't like their movies. They suck now. The Irishman was the most ridiculously boring movie I've ever tried to watch. I was like, oh, I can't watch this. This is ridiculous. Like, we already saw Casino. We already saw the Goodfellas. Like, we don't need the same guys doing. It's just, it drives me nuts. Do something different. I don't know if you guys watched the new Dune movies. Spectacular. They were fucking great. None of them. It wasn't great actors or actors. I think there was a couple good, but just good movies. You know, great cinematography, incredible music. I loved them. You know, fucking De Niro can go. Just go die. Al Pacino is like 95 years old and he has an infant. Like, go away. That's disgusting. Just get out of here. Nobody wants your dick in them anymore.
Shut the fuck up. Well, I mean, somebody does. They need a role. I
guess there's some money attached to that dick still, so somebody wants it. Ugh, God. Did you hear that? Did you hear that they quietly dismissed Trump's documents case today?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And my thought on that is like, hey, you know, we might have stepped over the line here. Why don't we we'll just throw you a bone. We'll do it quietly while nobody's paying attention, and we'll just get this out of here.
The reasons that they threw it away, they're like, this is pretty fucking obvious. And then they said, and then we didn't even address this thing, which was even bigger than what they threw it out on, apparently. But interesting from the Supreme Court, like their session's over at the end of June. They extended it into July this year. Everybody knows about the presidential privilege, which also makes Nixon not guilty, by the way. But they made a couple other interesting decisions. One is very negative. They ruled that you can tip a politician after the fact if they vote in favor.
You told me about that.
But you can't pay them up front because that'd be bribery. You can tip them after the fact. Unreal. And the good one, the one that I think is good for us, is back in 1984, Chevron was being tried on something, and the court said, we really don't understand this. You should push this back to the EPA. And that became a standard. At that point, there were 3,000 statutes in the US law. From that point on, every law was given to the letter agency to interpret. And from that point, we went from 3,000 statutes to 35,000 statutes because they didn't have to think about the law at all. And also is the invention of word processing, which made things quicker. Um, then there was this company that was, they owned a fishing company. And one of the wildlife agencies said, all right, it's $750 a day now for you to operate your boat and fish. And they're like, this is bullshit. We've never paid anything. Where do you get this? And that went all the way up to the Supreme Court. It's called the Chevron
Deference.
press. Yeah.
Chevron deference.
Oh yeah, I did hear about the Chevron doctrine being tossed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gave the EPA massive powers.
And the ATF. The ATF is just cooked now.
Which is good. They should be gone.
Yes.
Have you guys looked into the what's it called? Like the Project 2025 now? The Republican thing? It's so great. Like
it's not the Republican thing. That's some shit.
Like, yeah, it's so weird. I read through it for like I went through the table of contents. And I was like, this is like 2,000 pages. And I started looking at table of contents. I go, oh wait, abolish that, abolish that, abolish that. I could make this a 25-page book very quickly. I did hear about that Chevron deference. I don't know a ton about it, but I know that it's going to strip the EPA of a lot of their powers.
And the ATF, just like instead of them interpreting a law, if the laws should be written more clearly now. Hopefully, it gets us closer to single subject bills.
Yeah, right.
And then the court just won't defer to that letter agency. So you don't have to go all the way to the Supreme Court anymore if they like. So crypto, there was the ICO boom in like 2017. They're saying laws from 1924 is how they shut that shit down.
That's ridiculous. Before it was ever even conceived.
Yeah, before a computer was conceived.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff, the market could get freer. I don't know. I still don't have a lot of faith in the system, but at least that was like a good start.
Do you think Trump's serious about Bitcoin, or is he just got somebody in his ear saying that you should be good on this?
I think he's serious about it because there's the Bitcoin conference, which is here in Nashville.
Yeah, it's like
coming
next
up.
week, I think.
And he's speaking.
Yeah.
And China is due to make it legal again in Q4. I would love if he actually listened to Vivek. I would have never voted for Vivek, but he had some good ideas.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Trump is listening to him, including making a CBDC illegal.
That should be great. Like, I don't really care if he's serious about it or not, as long as he does the right things. Like I don't care if he understands it, which he clearly probably does not. But as long as he's doing the right, I guess I was kind of hopeful that he was gonna. I like Vivek. I think Vivek. I wouldn't, like I said, I don't vote anyways, but I like Vivek, and I think he's got a future. I was hoping that Trump was going to make him his VP, but I just read before the podcast he named JD Vance, who's
I don't know anything about Vance.
He's boring. He's just one of these guys. He's fucking boring. He's got no charisma. He says the right shit, but he's just fucking boring. I don't know.
The only thing I saw before this. Go ahead, Connor. Sorry.
No, go for it.
So the only thing that I saw about this on X before the podcast was there's a picture of him with his wife, and I guess his wife is Indian. And then there was like leftists breaking down how they're not really Indian, how they look European, and like the woman is as brown as brown goes.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, she's not really Indian.
Unbelievable. They'll
fucking trying their damnedest, Mitch.
They'll play that game where it's like, oh, he's actually racist because he doesn't love his wife. He's enslaving her. He wants a slave, not a wife. So
we'll see what happens.
What's going to happen with the Democrats? Are they going to run Biden? Are they going to swap him out? What do you guys think?
They're gonna pull one of two things. They're gonna take the loss on this one. I guess you could say three things. My initial thought was like, they're going to go for shutting off the internet or some wild shit on the day of the election to see how much they can obfuscate, what's happening in the polls. But I don't know. I think they're just going to continue to flounder because a lot of their attack vectors got pretty much removed. Like they don't really have anything left other than, I mean, they just basically incited political violence. I mean,
Mhm.
they're ever so slightly just pushing closer and closer to wanting to get fucked up by, you know, an actual like an actual political violent conflict. Like, you know, I don't know, but everything that I've been reading, I don't know if you guys, do you guys listen to a guy named What If Alt This?
No.
You guys should check out What If Alt This. He's like a historian that references like, you know, pretty much the cycles of European culture and Western culture, and then applies them to like modernity. And a lot of his concepting is basically like, yeah, we're kind of at a, unfortunately, we're at a flashpoint right now that cycles every like 70, 75 plus years or so. So, I mean, it's interesting if you like really compare it on paper, but the reason I'm saying this is because like the system that's currently set up, I agree with Dan. I have a lot of faith in the system, but there's also a good portion of it that's no longer viable anymore, and it just isn't going to fucking work moving forward because the way that young men are being dealt with right now is just fucked up on most accords to the point where, dude, you got like 80% of dudes from like 18 to 30 right now that are single, virgins, fucking childless, don't have any sort of prospecting going on, which creates a fucking very dangerous person. And there's a lot of those people right now, which is like, I don't know. Even if Trump does win and we do have like a solid 4 years coming up here, something drastic is going to happen to the system where young men kind of feel vindicated, or
Yeah.
else we're gonna like straight up create some form of a faction that you just don't want to deal with, man.
Giannis
'Cause, like,
Pappas has got a great joke called "The Amenities of Modernity," and he kind
oh
of
yeah,
like breaks down that entire thing where like men have
they
just
think it's
been
a game though. It's fucking wild. Like, dude, they're like actually LARPing, and especially the women, dude. If you pay attention to the women right now, especially like the younger ones, they straight up think like if there is like some sort of civil war that they're just gonna go and pick up a fucking AK-47 off the ground and actually fucking fight. It's like, nah, dude, you're gonna become prostitutes,
yeah.
unfortunately, or whatever easiest method of you being able to make money is gonna come about, because what you have right now is beautiful. It's awesome. You have modern fucking luxuries that most of the people on the planet don't have, and especially in America.
I
And you fucking retards are pushing for that not to exist anymore.
I almost died chasing my dog down the street a couple weeks ago. Like I'm in
uh,
better shape than the average, you know, American war fighting male. I would think I'm in better shape than the average, you know, 20 to 25-year-old, and I couldn't run
yeah, oh
a
yeah.
mile. Yeah, I was dead. Like I don't see those people just like you said picking up an AK and starting to march across state lines and shit like that. I think that's kind of dumb. Like my thought
No,
on the Dems is they've got two choices right now. They run Biden because they know they're going to lose, which fine, or it depends on how much they like Kamala Harris. If they think that she's got a future, which I do not, then they might
just too
just let
unanimously hate
Biden
it,
run.
man.
But if they
Everybody
want to get
literally
rid of
fucking
her,
hates her ass.
if they want to get rid of her, they'll toss her in. And I think,
Yeah,
like you were saying, they're going to flounder for a while because they don't want to have, like, what do we have, 3 months until the election? They don't want 3 months of the American people knowing how stupid Kamala Harris is because she's not really under the microscope right now. Once she's under the microscope for a couple of months, people are going, oh, she's a fucking moron. Gavin
no,
Newsom's not going to
she's
step in
really
here and
dumb,
burn
bro.
his entire career losing to Trump,
Yeah.
you know? Dan, what do you
No,
think?
it's impressive how stupid that lady is. When you
Yeah,
actually hear her talk, they're like, "Holy shit, you're
she's
like a
on drugs.
caricature of a human."
She's
Yeah,
on
I think
drugs for sure.
I genuinely think that she's on benzos or
Yeah,
something like when
me
she
too.
talks, because it sounds like I know it's somebody like. I had a ton of my friends when we were kids. They tried to get us all addicted to fucking Xanax and
Yeah,
bars when we were kids. So like, it's pretty clear when somebody's high on fucking Xanax.
I think
Like
she's
they don't.
Xanax and edibles.
Yeah, something. So because she's like super wah wah wah.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, she's gone. She's as gone as Biden is. And like I've
Yeah.
been there before. I used to take Xanax when I was like hooked on oxys. And I remember one night I was in a quick stop gas station. I was fucked up on Xanax. And this guy that like I'd known since I was a kid, we didn't like each other for the most part for the last couple of years. We just got into it. And man, we had this fucking like, you know, a big hug and talking. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I hate that fucking guy. He murdered his fucking girlfriend.
God damn.
Yeah, well, he got in a wreck, drunk, and his girlfriend was fucked up in the car, and he ran, and she died.
Oh my God.
Yeah, piece of shit.
That's fucking brutal.
Yeah, so I felt pretty fucking bad after that one.
Ugh.
My thoughts.
Go back. Sorry, Dan. You go, I guess.
I will.
I wasn't done talking.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, buddy.
Okay, I am too.
My thoughts on this, like, we haven't even touched on the debate, and people stopped talking about the debate. After the debate, it was pretty much over. Because you can't run. But Harris was power hungry climbing because she thought she would have a chance at that point. And now that discussion's over, there's no shot that Trump loses. Like, even they might be able to swing 3 to 5% in the vote. But when you're talking 20, 30%, there's no way that you can rig that. So back in 96, Bob Dole was incredibly unlikable. There's like no way he was beaten.
Here's Bob Dole.
There's no way he was beating Slick Willie. So what the Republicans did is they diverted the money from his campaign into getting the House and the Senate. Now, if the Democrats are smart, they'll stop throwing so much money into a presidential campaign that they can't even win. And they'll try to overtake the House and hold the Senate. But right now, on the path that they're on, they're losing all three. So
they can't cheat as much as they would need to cheat to win this election. Like, they would have to cheat so bad. And I think, again, like
it's gonna be too obvious.
Yeah, my theory of they need to let him in and then destroy him, it would be a really good thing for them to be like, look, our elections are fair. He won.
Dude, Elon's been going off.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys saw
that's
this.
interesting.
So the founder of LinkedIn, somebody tweeted or posted or exited it or whatever. You created LinkedIn, that's not evil enough. Why are you putting money into Biden? And Elon Musk responded, because he was on Epstein's island and he doesn't want to be exposed when Trump exposes the list.
Hey man, what's that in your mouth?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, the debate is something, man. It's amazing to me that the corporate press swung as quick as they did. Like, I shouldn't be amazed by that. I should be expected that. But man, I expected them to try and spin it. He didn't do that bad. But dude, there was a point.
Some people did.
Yeah, there was a point.
Went for it a little bit. I did see a few headlines that were like really going like, just because he was slow doesn't mean he was bad. Yeah. Like,
there was a video of that Harry Sisson kid where he's like, Biden just did a press conference and he did great. He answered every question and he answered it great. Dude, what is wrong with you?
The fact when they Trump knows, he's just like, they kind of like tell him to get the fuck off the stage, and he gets the fuck off the stage. But they look at Biden and like, holy shit, dude. Like, I think Jill walks up and is immediately like, you did it, Joe. You answered every question. It's just like,
I knew it was over
You're the leader of the fucking free world, motherfucker. Like,
I knew it was over when Trump was like, I don't know what he's saying. I don't think he knows. And then it wasn't so much that comment. It was the look that Biden turned and gave to him. His mouth was just wide open. And then CNN went from 2 screens back to only on Trump. And you know that somebody was like, switch to Trump, switch to Trump, switch to Trump. And they had to wait for him to like get it back together before they could go back to. And the fact that he didn't like say something back to that. Like, he didn't even say anything. He should have went, oh, that's ridiculous. Something, even though his mic was off. And I heard him in that interview with Stephanopoulos where he's like, oh, Trump was just shouting at me the whole time, even though his mic was off. And it's like, we all watched it. He wasn't. He was fucking quiet. I don't know who got into Trump's ear on that one and said, this is how you play it, but goddamn did he play it good.
Yeah. One thing that really stuck out after that is all the people were calling for Trump or for Biden to step down, and they're like, democracy is on the line, and they're just democracy. And I'm like, everybody, the corporate press, the whole Democratic Party subverted democracy by not allowing us to vote in a primary. Everybody knew. Everybody fucking knew. There when Trump got elected and Obama was out of office, there was memes about how fucking stupid Biden was in 2016.
Yeah.
Like they knew, and then it's just democracy's on the line. So you're telling me the people that subverted democracy and the people that covered it up are now telling me that democracy is on the line if I don't vote for whatever fucking puppet they put in there? But then there's no coming back after the CNN headlines. Trump trips on stage.
Oh my God. Unbelievable,
No,
dude.
Come on, bro.
Unreal. When I found out about it,
fucking faith. Like, what the hell,
dude, my Apple News, like I have a widget up for my Apple News, and dude, the headline was like, let me find this because this is like right afterwards. This within a couple hours. God, where is it? Here we go. Kids feel anxious. Parents feel hopeless. Why is it so hard to limit social media use? That's their headline that they're showing me on my widget an hour after the president was almost shot. That doesn't happen by accident. There's no way that happens by accident. Oops, we just made a mistake. No, there is somebody with their finger on the button. And
then
the only thing that I can
is this gonna push the black vote closer to Trump now that he's been shot? And it's like, why don't you just use the N-word when you talk about these people? Because that's how you feel.
Yeah, no shit. Are these niggers gonna vote for him now that he's one of them?
It literally fucking comes off like that. It's like without actually saying the fucking word. That's how you guys. Every fucking thing you guys do just evokes that. Like,
it's just disgusting. These people have no shame. They have no soul. They have no
there
values. They have no morals. They're just empty. You know, I read this article a while back, and it was about like, I think they said somewhere along the lines of like 40 to 50% of people don't have an inner monologue going on in their head. Yeah. You see the look on you. So now I watch these police videos and I watch these political videos, and the article kind of explains that these people aren't conscious in the same way that we are, because they don't have that voice in their head that's planning their every move, you know, the move in front of them. They just kind of exist in the moment, and they have no way of actually grasping things. So when you start watching these DUI arrests or these idiots that go on MSNBC and you go, what is going on in their head? It's nothing. And that's the scariest part of it. I look at these people now and I go, oh, you're one of them. Like, you don't have anything going on up there. You're just existing. You're an NPC.
And to kind of go back to a point that Connor was making, I was thinking about like, how are different religions really subverting our culture? Not that I'm pro religion, I'm not, but people used to have something to believe in. Now they attach on to like this gender identity stuff or this and that, and like the left kind of took them all in. But then when Palestine happened, the most Jewish people voted for Democrats, and then you have like from the rivers to the seas, and like that's all gonna crumble because nobody believes in anything anymore. Nobody has a common good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. The coalitions are broken, and broken to the point where I don't think there's fixing it. You know, I was listening to some Piers Morgan earlier today, and he was interviewing Ben Shapiro about this whole thing, and you know, his analysis comes down to you know, as Americans, we need to come together and figure out our problems and you know, be respectful for each other. And it's like, dude, like. You saw the messages that my friends in San Francisco were sending. We don't have common ground anymore with these people. Like, anybody who is willing to go on social media and risk their job by screaming that the president should have been killed, I can't coexist with that person in a polite society. Like, we have to do something. We need to split. I live in Idaho. Like, I open up the show with transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho, because that's what I hope we end up at some point. You know, Greater Idaho has grown immensely since I moved here. When I moved here, it was kind of just this abstract idea. Now we've got multiple counties in Oregon that actively want this. The only thing that's really stopping it is Boise and Portland. You know, Boise doesn't want a bigger Republican, advantage in their state. And the same with Portland. They don't want to lose their, liberal voting blocks. So I don't know that it's going to happen, but I feel like between Idaho and Texas and Florida, something has to give at some point. And at some point, the people are just going to go, we've had enough of this. We can no longer deal. Like, if we were able to go greater Idaho and get ourselves a port, we're fine. We don't need anything. Texas is a huge economy right now. Multiple big companies from California and New York are moving to Texas and Florida. Do you think there's a chance that something like this could lead to some sort of national divorce or free states within the union?
Yeah,
I hope.
Yeah, no, Texas has the 8th largest economy in the world, so they'd be the 8th largest country by GDP.
Hey, country. It's not. There's not much distinction there.
I'll tell you who we haven't heard from yet. That's Appalachia. And when those motherfuckers come down from the hills,
yeah, you're right. West Virginia could be a hot spot. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole region. But I had quite a few farmer friends reach out to me since Saturday, and shit is not pretty. Well, you can sit there and vilify these people, call them racist. Every fucking other article. Drinking coffee in the morning is a sign of white supremacy. Showing up on time is sign of white supremacy. Having a family is like, what the fuck can I do that isn't white supremacy? And at some point, those people that you were calling racist and extremists, you're gonna crack them. And they got really fucking close to cracking those people this weekend. I don't think they understand how lucky they are that it missed. And even your friends that are mad about it.
And I look at those labels as a badge of honor. If somebody's calling me a racist or a homophobe or any of those things, it means I'm on the target. I'm a big motocross fan. Like I watch racing. I was a motocross racer as a kid, and I had this journalist on, earlier in the week, and he's very good, very critical of what's going on. Like, the company that owns the race series also owns the biggest journalistic outlet, RacerX magazine. So you've got it would be like the NFL owning ESPN, and that's the only real news that you get is from there. And so this guy, they call him negative. Oh, he's so negative. He's always so negative. He's just so negative. And I was telling him, like, dude, when they say you're negative, all they're doing is calling you a homophobe or a racist or a white supremacist. It is a label that means person I don't like and who is causing me problems. And that's all it is. They're doing it everywhere, and people are waking up to it, which is a good thing. Like, when I was living in San Francisco, my ex-wife was half Iranian. I never even considered like having a mixed marriage at my family's house or having kids with somebody of a different. That wasn't in the zeitgeist at that point. Now it would be, would have
never thought of it otherwise, right?
Yeah.
It would never fucking crossed your mind. None of this shit. They're creating their own fucking boogeyman by behaving like this, and it's just fucking stupid. And that's what I said initially was like, dude, these fucking idiots are actively trying to create their own boogeyman, and it's like the same concept as a lot of the feminists with the fucking that show that came out, the one where I can't remember. It's the fucking weird Netflix show that they're all obsessed with for a second there. But it's the same fucking concept. If you constantly are fucking anxious about it and freak out over it, you're probably going to bring about whatever it is you're anxious about.
Yep. Yep. Well, I was gonna start out the show with this story before, we had shit go down. But in the spirit of Three Guys, Four Arms, let's get out of here on this one. Man allegedly convinced friend to amputate his own legs as part of $1.3 million insurance scam.
Chinese dude, right?
Yeah. How about that? Put his legs in dry ice until they fucking fell off.
Yeah, and it wasn't part of the policy either.
Oh my God. Really? I didn't look into it that far.
Yeah, he literally lost his legs and got nothing for it.
Oh.
And then his homie's no longer his homie anymore too, for obvious reasons. So
what a beautiful thing. We live in exciting times. I mean, I think that's a great way to get out of here, guys. It's been a pleasure.
That's good.
We'll do this again in another couple months. Shit's going to be crazy through November.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Later, guys.
See ya.